Zels, we've been waiting 2 years for this game, and it happened. We pumped them even more emphatically. We asked for 1 point. They gave us 15. Allez, le bloc, not le blé.
I love that, mate. Like I said to you, I think this is one of my favorite Springbok performances and victories. I loved every single second of it, mate. Absolutely superb. The problem solving on the fly, just unbelievable, mate. Faced massive adversity with that red card. France came out, fired all the ammunition in that first 40 to 60 minutes. The Boks just stayed true to the plan, hung tough, and then calculated, found a way to win, mate. And I thought everybody from the players to the coaches, massive effort, massive performance, humongous victory, and what a way to leave Paris again, mate, with another epic victory. It was fantastic.
All right, we won 9 out of 10 against France. We've won 5 from 5 at the start of France in the last 20 years against France. We've won 11 from 12 at the start of France, including the 99 World Cup quarterfinal. Yanni de Beer's 5 drop goals. 2007, we beat England 36-0. Angleterre went down there. We then won the semi-final against Argentina, won the final against England. 2023, obviously, the big crunch game against Ireland in the pool stages. We lost that one 13-8, but then came back and won all 3 playoffs. And we went back there again. Here, Kolisi's 100th test. Symbolic of how he's played all those hundreds, team before individual, subbed on 40 because it made sense to the balance of that second half. We'll get to him a bit later. But it is our fortress. It's not our Bleu's fortress. And I don't get the hype. Why? We're always the underdog going there when we have this compelling 9 from 10 victory, and in 20 years they haven't beaten us. We are the back-to-back world champions, and this isn't arrogance. This is just stating the facts. And hopefully South Africans will also get over this thing. And every time we're the favorite, they want to make us the underdog. And what I loved about that performance is we went out and we played like world champions. We played like the world's #1 team against a side where you won't get more emotion, you won't get a more passionate home crowd, and more vitriol. And they've been waiting for 2 years for this match. And that first hour, they threw everything at us. They would have blown most teams away by 20 points. The resilience of the Boks, the incredible manipulation of those subs by the doctor that is the genius, Rassie. Another 5 minutes and we could have gone past 50 points against them. They were out on their feet. Their bomb squad blew themselves up.
Bon voyage! Right, you touched on so many points there that are so important. We could have a 2-hour episode on this. But first of all, I don't know if you saw some of the comments after the last show, how we so arrogant and lacking in humility, and probably a few fair comments there. But as you say, South Africans, players and supporters alike just need to get over this thing where we are petrified of being wrong about something. Rather understate it, be modest, and then be happy to be right. Back your Boks. We thought they'd win. It came through for us. It was a brave call to say they'd win convincingly in Paris, but they did, and we called it. And that for me is what really impressed me, because as disappointing as Eden Park was and that result was, that's how impressive this was. The Boks went in to foreign territory against an opponent that had a lot of emotional baggage, wanted to make a point against them, lay down a marker. They were tipped as favorites to win the game, and they wore the favorites tag. Despite the adversity, despite plenty of reasons they could have lost that game, they found a way to win. And there's nothing better in sport than watching a capable team pull out all the stops to find the shortcuts to victory. And it's not about style. It's not about anything other than getting the points on the board. And I love that about the Boks. That performance was absolutely outstanding. You touched on Sia. I know we'll get into him a little bit from now. But that's why this team wins. Rassie Erasmus is in charge. Everybody's on board with the plan. Rassie knows what his plan is. And he backs himself, and the players follow through behind him. And I thought that was absolutely on display and showcased in this performance. Everybody just tightened up their belts, cracked their knuckles, and went again. And in the first half, the moment that caught my eye, and about 20 minutes in or so, I guess, France are coming at us, hammer and tongs, elbows and knees. And there's this brief break in play, and Eben is exhorting the team. He's saying, ho on, because he knows if they just keep landing these blows, The temperature's going to go up and the frogs are going to fry. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, I mean, CA even like in that last 15 minutes, screaming from the sidelines, they tired, Ellis Much, they tired, they tired. When your bench is as actively involved in a game as we saw there, and then you look at the quality of that bench, hello, Dad, sipping away there. uh, when you are in this cauldron, and this is what I've loved about what he's done in the last years, Rassi and his lieutenants, uh, they've put young players into World Cup final type scenarios and have been prepared to risk and prepared to lose if they have to win in 2027 and beyond that at World Cups.
Yeah.
To make those big calls, to say to Damien Deolandi, who was having a hell of a game, you're off because we've been working this hybrid experiment with Andre the Giant. And Andre the Giant, tonight's your ticket into the next World Cup. You're going to be playing flank, you're going to be playing center. You've got to do the first ever dual role in a match that was as close as you'll get to a World Cup final in terms of atmosphere and attitude and the opposition. To Eben, you're off. The Vikings on and Ron Nokia's going to be the main line-out caller. To Buon Fenter, you know how it feels now for 30 minutes and you know what you've still got to do. Walker, you know now that you've got to scrum against 8 players and win us a penalty, which he did. And then Damian Willems, we know how good you are, but you're off, mate. We need more fluidity at the back. We need Sasha there, and we need Mani to kind of break them open. I just thought they were such genius calls because he knew what he wanted to do. They weren't so much brave. To him, it was the logical decision making. And you clearly saw that coach runs that team. Players don't run his team. The quality of player he pulled off to get the win. It's the same with the decisions he made. Ellis Park 2 years ago, when Fassi and Sasha played through 43-10 in Wellington, when he stuck with young guns and said to them, go and show me why you should be playing in a World Cup 2027 final in Australia. And we've spoken all season about the wheels are in motion for a changing of the guard, not an execution, but a respectful, beautiful departure. And more we've seen that in these big games.
No, 100%. And I mean, you touched on Andre Estes there. You could name 10 players for man in the match. Sasha, a deserved winner as well. But I thought for me, Andre Estes and stepping into that game in that role that he had to do, like all the fun and the giggles and the tickles and all the laughs about this hybrid role, like it was go time at the weekend in Paris against a rabid French team. And it can't be easy, you know. It can't be easy to shift from the back line to the forward pack, especially when you've got to roll up your sleeves and really get stuck in like he had to. I thought he was superb in that role, and kudos to him for being brave enough to go with it and for making the most of it. Obviously, Malcolm Marx had a crack over game. Peter Step the Toy also, etc., etc. The Boks played out of their skins, and it was like I say, it was one of probably my top 5 Bok performances of all time. I thought it was outstanding the way everybody chipped in to contribute towards finding a way to win this game in some very, very trying circumstances.
And then also we talk about the leadership in that team. Sia in his 100th test, he's been remarkable. He's now the most successful Springbok captain ever in terms of a winning percentage. He's gone past Gary Teichmann. He's second only to John Smith when it comes to how many tests he's won. The humility that he showed, the kind of recognition he got from his players, because they played for him. If ever they played for a captain was in the last 15 minutes, they were going to give him that 100th send-off. He wasn't going to be a losing captain on his 100th test match. It was just a remarkable achievement. I think what has gone a bit unnoticed is Peter Steph du Toit's captaincy in that second half as well. He took on the mantle and he also got more involved, when I say more involved, got more ingrained in the mental aspects of the game. We know how good he is when he's just concentrating on what he has to do. But there was a collective. There was Eben's input. There was Damon Deolandi's input. Kobus Reiner. That guy played like he had something to show the French after being at Montpellier for 8 years. Obviously, him and Tommy Ramos.
I think he did.
I don't think there's any Christmas lunches there between the two of them. It was just wonderful to see his attitude. And you thought even when he got subbed, was that the right call? Because he was owning that position. Grant Williams comes on, injects pace into that game, scores a fabulous try, and just has them guessing. And when you've got a Grant Williams in the last 10 minutes of a game, Mani Labok at first receiver, and the potential to shift the ball to Sasha, it makes it hell of a hard for any defense. So I was just thrilled. I mean, I was up to 4 a.m. with Simon Borchardt. He was doing all the SARugbymag stuff. I was doing stuff for the blog and various other things. celebrating Sia's kind of 100th. But I could have stayed up till 6 that morning and just written the content of that. But what also surprised me that people, okay, feet on the ground, let's keep humble. Same people who said we won't win. And I was like, I'm going nowhere. I'm going to be on X for a while, guys. And the thing we need to learn as South Africans is when you win the Olympic gold, get on that podium and celebrate it. And when you lose it and you come silver, acknowledge the oak who came first and say, I'll work harder next time. But we can't always be the guys who aren't allowed to celebrate and aren't allowed to win for fear of being called arrogant. Let's get
Mate,
over that. This team
Boks
has won
fans are
20.
not shy. Yeah, but I was just going to say, Boks fans are not shy to let the guys know when they're not doing well. You know, we're very happy to sort of slate the Boks when things aren't going well. But now that things are going well, people are very nervous around it. And like you say, we just need to lean into it and enjoy these moments.
And we've been around long enough, Zels. I was there at the Coalface 2000 to 2003. Come Staaldrop, darkest days. Been there when we've taken 55 points at Eden Park. Been there when we took 57 in Durban. Fortunately, didn't travel to Albany for the 57. Was at part of the Boks when we took 53 again at Twickenham. I've seen and experienced those dark days and been part of the team, written about it, commentated on it. People were burning the Boks jersey in 2016 when we lost to Italy. Lost 4 times on the trot to Wales. 27-13, we lost. Wales on Sunday said, where are the real Springboks? I've lived through that hardship of the Springboks, and I know how it feels to be battered, to be ranked 7th in the world when you're supporting and commenting on a team. And that's why I revel in this team. They are incredible. They're the best Springbok team ever produced. They have eclipsed 2009 just on the way they've gone on. They're right up there with McCaw and Carter's 2011, 2015 All Blacks. Some say even better now for what they continue to achieve. And hell, let's celebrate and then scream from the rooftops, regardless of what happens next week or in Dublin or next season in the greatest rivalry tour. For now, we are one in the world. We're top of the world. It's Allez le Bok!
Fantastic. You got your words in there on Sia, mate. I just want to say from my side, we've watched a couple of Boks reach their sort of 100th test match and it not go so well. And we've seen some win in their 100th. But Sia, as is his custom, marked this milestone in his career in a very unique way that will probably never, ever be matched or superseded. Taking a bench role for the second half of your 100th test you're not playing Italy here in Durban. You're playing France, who feel aggrieved, in Paris. I'm pretty sure the majority of that team has been building towards this game as they did probably for Eden Park. Mate, massive moment in that guy's career, something that I will never forget. It's just one of those magical story moments where you go, this guy is massive inspirational leader, great player, and then in his 100th test match to just take a back seat for the greater good of the team and to do it with a smile and then be, like you say, cheerleading from the touchline, supporting the guys. I don't know what more motivation you need from a leader than that. Absolutely outstanding.
Well, it's, incredibly, he made his debut off the bench 4.5 minutes into the test match against Scotland, playing in white. Player of the match that day, his 100th, pulled on 40 minutes because the team balance was out of kilter because of a sending off, playing in white, and he got it. 30 years on from when Madiba walked out in a Boks number 6 jersey, the jersey of Francois Pienaar, and it was reconciliation more than unity back then. And I had a chat with Gideon Sam in the early hours of Sunday morning, the former SASCOC president, former Springbok manager, hugely influential in terms of transformation in South African sport, South African rugby. And I said to him, what an incredible swapping of the baton from Madiba to Sia. And I never thought it would take 30 years. And he said he did. And that was the lesson I had to learn many years ago, kind of getting frustrated. And I was just privileged to kind of be able to comment and report on it, that it did take 30 years. But you saw Springbok rugby in all its glory as the love child of South Africa, no longer the ugly child, no longer the outcast. The Springboks are the most popular team. They are a team that represents a nation's hopes and certainly not a legacy of the past. And that was why that victory was so important, and why the country could celebrate into the early hours of Sunday morning, because it's like trying to conquer a buffet. trying to wait for a 10 past 10 kickoff on a Saturday night when you play against France, there's a skill to it, okay? And for the first time, I think I actually mastered it. Got to 10 past 10, watched this game on my own, could concentrate, and then railed in the 3-4 hours afterwards, working, writing, and having the privilege of having platforms to talk about this incredible night in our rugby and put to bed once and for all that we stole nothing from France in 2023, because to steal it, they would have had to have had it. And they didn't have it. They didn't have a winning record against us, and they weren't the defending champions. We beat them in the most incredible quarterfinal, 29-28. I don't think any other team would have come within 15 points of them. I don't think any other team would have come within 15 points of them on Saturday. That first hour was something out of the ordinary from France. And for us to resist that just explains the magnitude of this team's effort. And right now, I'm just euphoric. I'm still on an adrenaline high from Saturday night. And just one big congratulations to the Boks.
Yeah, spot on, mate. I don't really have much more to add to it than that. That summed it up perfectly. For France, they've had the front seat now to two mammoth performances from this golden era of Springboks, and they'll have a very clear picture of what it takes to play at that level. Whether they can ever get close to that, only time will tell. But you can't fault France for their effort, given the injuries that they had. I thought Galtier put together a great team. They gave it a good nudge. But these guys go for 80 minutes. That battery doesn't die, and just the quality of player that we have there, and it, like we spoke about, probably expecting a bunch of changes this week, but it doesn't necessarily mean the team's going to be any weaker. That's just a reflection of the massive depth that Rassie has created over the last couple of years.
Yeah, when Rassie said, I'll probably bring in Andre Pollard, I'll probably bring in Ethan Hooker, like, wow. Which team those two start every single week for any team in the world. The Lute Jager, it's 48 hours later now. Boks seem to have taken on the chin. To me, again, World Rugby lets themselves down every weekend. There's no consequence. It's a very simple thing. You have the bunker system. There is doubt about the interpretation. The referee sees it one way. The match officials see it the other. The referee's right on the spot. Angus Gardner looks at that situation and says, play on. He then gets alerted to it. He's still like, Ramos is 3 foot tall now. The other guy's 7 foot tall. Mitigation, no. Premeditated act of foul play. Immediately, okay, then we've got to go. This is an attempted murder. And off the guy goes. Where if they just had the bunker, the guy would have either said yellow card, or he would have upgraded, having 15 minutes to actually assess it or 10 minutes to assess it while the game goes on. The game stopped for the best part of 4 minutes for what was the wrong decision. And the scrutiny that went into that, then compared to the lack of scrutiny that went into the yellow card to Biobere, when there was a Jesse Krill catches the ball, he scores under the poles, and if he doesn't, he draws Ramos and Cheslin Colby scores. It was a nonchalant, no, there is a cover defender there. Now, if that had been a Springbok infringing, we would have seen 23 reverse angles of that, and the try would have been given. So I thought Angus Gardner, for the most, was outstanding in his communication, but his two biggest calls, he didn't trust himself on the field and use the technology that was available.
Yeah, I think it was. Yes, I do agree with that. I think the last couple of weeks have been a great development for the future of international rugby, because between Beauden Barrett coming out and saying that he didn't think Tyke Burns should have been sent off, and now the reaction from people who actually understand rugby to Lute Jager's red card, I think the narrative is going to start changing. And unfortunately, World Rugby has been led by the nose by this narrative. The bogeyman of the safety, without ever detailing exactly what the dangers are. We just hear that things are very dangerous, but there's never a number put to it. We have no concept of what the danger is. And, we see him going off for his magic mouth guard when he didn't have a head injury assessment. He passed with flying colours. Thomas Ramos apparently almost got killed. His mouth guard didn't go off, didn't need to go for an HIA. I think the facade is starting to crumble, and people are realizing that there's risk and then there's probability. And, as much as we want player safety, we also cannot destroy this game for things that do not warrant it. So I think that the conversation is going to start tilting, because I think the makeup is starting to melt. And in a way, this might accelerate that move towards common sense again. But as we've spoken about many times, for me, the referee should be the final judge on the field. I wouldn't even have a TMO. If he makes the wrong call, we all live with it. Just like if the winger drops the ball, we all live with it. So referees should be the people making the decision on the field. We've got to a stage now where the ref is asking his touch judges what they think should be the decision. Maybe we can run a phone onto the ref and he can phone his best buddies and get them to tell him what they think too. It's just getting out of control now. So bottom line is the Boks won, mate. And as much as I regret any sanction that Lewis is going to face now, like I say, I think it might bring rugby back to its senses a little bit.
It's again the communication of the referee. There's mitigation in real time. I see it as a collision. TMO, in real time, show me what you saw. Not a freeze frame. Freeze frame, everything looks outrageous. You don't know where that contacts come from. We're going to show you a freeze frame of Ramos is actually printing his left arm up, so Lut can't wrap that left arm. And if he had just been a little bit more upright, he wraps with the right and he smashes him with the left, and it's a normal tackle as he goes to ground, and he would have hit him around the ribs. The guy was on his knees when it happened. But Angus Gardner was so confident in saying that, and then when his assistant started whispering in his ear, this is premeditated foul play, he's like, okay, let's backtrack. Then he's like, are we all in agreement again? So now you've got a consensus of 4 you have to reach. One is saying definitely off, the other one saying, I don't know. And this all playing out while we want to speed up the game as such. I thought it was ridiculous. We saw in the Welsh game, the Welsh centre kicking out at Matero deliberately. Oh, but we can't see that there's actually contact, so it's not really an offence. That was far more intent than anything Lut did. Lut went in to make a tackle, and the guy dropped to his knees. So, yeah, World Rugby needs to be called out on it every single time. It doesn't change, but it doesn't mean we as messengers can't keep on calling them out on it. And unfortunately, South Africa just seems to be on the receiving end for most of those ones. And then what irks them the most is we continue to win, and we continue to win 14 playing on 15 regardless. I love some of the memes that floated after the game. World Rugby is going to outlaw the red card because the Boks still win with 14 against 15. Matt Williams has come out and said it's against the spirit of the game to win in Paris 14 against 15. And I think the 32-17 scoreboard said it all. L'Equipe, the big voice of French sport, the newspaper, digital platform, their two headlines. One was the slap. The Boks basically slapped them in Afrikaans. It's a PK. You can figure that out, what they gave them. And then the other one was Boks. Yeah, penalty kick. The other one's Boksies, which was basically beaten up by the Boks. So they acknowledge, and they're a very intelligent rugby journalistic world, the French. Artists in their writing, they know the game. They acknowledge that their heavyweight got beaten up and pulverized, and that they're just not good enough at the moment. And Galtier said that. We prepared as well as we could. This team we at the moment just actually can't beat. And that may also ease the scarring of 2023, because now they know for sure that they weren't robbed. No one took anything away from them. They got beaten by a better team.
No, 100%. That doesn't mean I don't want to see us play them again in Paris very, very soon, mate. The more time we win there, the more I'm going to enjoy it. But 100%, I think France actually did really, really well. They overachieved, given the use of those two props. Rookie on the bench against the world champions, frothing to get this result. Fabien Galtier has a lot of reason to be proud of what his guys did, but they're just not in the same class as the Boks at the moment.
Well, then people always said, what happens? Why don't we have the Six Nations champions play the Rugby Championship champions? Well, we do. Play them in their home ground, 32-17 win for the Boks. People also said, why don't we take the best of the North and play them against the best of the South and see who wins? We do that every 4 years as well. It's called the World Cup, and the South wins. So nothing much changes at the moment, okay? And look, it's just facts. I'm not being arrogant here, guys. It's just presenting the facts. There's 9 Southern Hemisphere World Cup wins out of 10. And you're not getting France coming to South Africa or going to New Zealand and comfortably winning 32-17 in a test match. It's just not happening. So all credit to the number 1 team in the world. There's a reason Rassie Rasmussen and his team is number 1. There's a reason why he was given the gold card status, the green card and the gold card in the collector box, Pick and Pay, and the ASAP campaign is probably most successful campaign they've ever done. I don't think they could believe the reaction that was going to be from 88-year-olds down to 4-year-olds collecting those 31 cards. On our show, I drew the Rassie Rasmus gold card straight up, which was just such a good sign for this tour, and said, as it comes closer to the draw, because you have to have that gold card to complete your 31, we'll give it to one lucky entrant. My inbox has been inundated with some of the most amazing albums that have been sent. But one lucky winner is Ben van Arswegen. He's 10 years old. He calls me Keo. He tells me his dad loves the show. He's got 28.
Is his dad's name Gary?
It's not Gary, no. Otherwise, I'd say, hang on a second. You're not getting the gold card. But you have to just tell people who Gary van Arswegen is.
Yeah, Gary van
For the
Arswegen played for the Stormers of Western Province. Fantastic little fly half and a great little career. I mean, yeah, great player, underrated, and was in and around the Rassie Erasmus time.
Yeah, and a very good one. A lot better than the Okies, who's lookalike, who plays for Australia at the moment at 10, Mr. Tone Edmund. There's a little bit of a similarity there in look, but certainly not in the quality of play. But Ben's got that. He's got 28 of the 30, but he needs that gold card. And the good news for him also is that we've, on SA Rugby Magazine's Facebook page, we're going to open a thread for the next 2 days that's going to run. And everyone who emailed me, and they've got so many cards to swap, they can go on there and they can do their swaps, so they can get to know each other, and we can fill up your albums. And then you go into Pick and Pay's big draw for the big prizes, which include the sevens in Cape Town, tickets to that, the big experience with the Boks in 2026, and many other prizes. But the cool thing is they've also introduced the smart kicker. So are you Sasha, are you Andre, or are you Marnie? Huge prizes to be won. You download it off the ASAP app, and you go in there, and it's one of those things you can start getting quite absorbed and caught up with it, trying to pot over those kicks. But there's points to be gained, and there's lots of things to be won. So finally, we also have like kind of a retail partner of the Boks, where a lot of their campaigns talk so wonderfully to the engagement that the fan has with the Boks and bringing the Boks players closer to them. So we've been blessed to be able to do that collab with Pick and Pay and with ASAP and with the Boks, and it's been a really cool one. And thanks for everyone who got so caught up and so engrossed with those collector Boks, and plenty of them were Toppies 50 years and older. It wasn't just the young kids. I think it brought out the inner kid. Something that's never going to bring out the inner kid, though, the gods of rugby New Zealand, playing like the gods of rugby. When are people going to get over this obsession that right now, because Jamie George hasn't, he's playing against them on Saturday, England, the hooker. He said they are the best team in the world right in this moment. What is this love affair with New Zealand that people can't actually get, that right now they're a top 4 team and they're not the world's best?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, definitely the hype and the history doesn't live up to their current performances. Watching them play Scotland was watching like a Lord of the Rings rugby match, mate. It was very fantastical, maybe a little bit on the naive side, a lot of fantastic rugby that actually went nowhere. So Scotland had their chance to beat these All Blacks. I'm not sure these All Blacks should be ranked up there. They'll say, hey, we sculpt the Boks Eden Park this year, and fair play to them. But these guys have got a lot of questions they've still got to answer. I thought a match against Scotland is probably DMAC's perfect environment. I'm not sure that these guys have got the muscle to stick with the top tier teams the whole way through. I'm looking forward to England facing New Zealand. I think that's going to be a cracking game. And I'm sure England will be very excited about this one in particular. But what I did like about that All Blacks team was that backline is starting to find some direction and some power. And I think if they lean into that some more, you may see the All Blacks click back into gear. But still a long way to go. I think Richie Mo'unga needs to come back as soon as possible for these guys, because they just seem to sort of take 2 steps forward and 3 back. So let's see.
Reminded me of a nice 3rd and 4th playoff at a World Cup. Both teams playing exhibition rugby, quite dramatic. Scotland never quite good enough to beat the All Blacks. The All Blacks still too good to lose at Murrayfield. They've now won 20 in succession in the history of the game at Murrayfield. Yeah. That's not bad for a visiting team to go to a supposed fortress People
Yeah.
saying this is the worst New Zealand team in 6 years. This is the greatest Scotland team. Kiwis not that flash, but they still came out 25-17 winners. I don't quite understand that narrative. Also don't understand the narrative that come out of Cardiff on Sunday. The joy that the Welsh scored 4 tries. When last have the Welsh scored 4 tries in a test, but they conceded a record 52 points at home to the Pumas. A side
Yeah.
that was bottom of the table in the rugby championship. Side that took
Yeah.
67 points in Durban. Come
I'm
on.
more forgiving to Wales. I'm more forgiving to Wales because for them anyway is up. Rightfully so, mate. If they can actually get across the try line, never mind 4 times, that is something to bank as some sign of progress. But for Scotland, mate, I don't know. Maybe Gregor Townsend just needs another 5 or 10 years with those boys, and the attack will eventually click, and the magical rugby will arrive, and they'll be unstoppable. Until then, mate, they're going to keep having these brave losses against serious and semi-serious teams like the All Blacks are at the moment. And yeah, I think it's a long road for them. So, but this weekend, mate, England are on the up. England are on the up. I'm keen to see them against the All Blacks. And then for me, a personal, almost like the cheaters of Super Rugby of old. I love Italy under Gonzo. They took a massive step forward, beating Australia. Quite telling that while Scotland were throwing the ball around, Italy made 220 tackles to beat Australia. I think Gonzo's got them pointed in the right direction. They're quite a physical and plucky is the word you like so much. Plucky team.
I don't know if I like plucky at all. It's something that was used back in the 1800s. Still gets used somewhere. But if you look at Australia, and we were raving about them when they came to Ellis Park and shocked us 38-22, where James
Yeah.
Conner missed the conversion away from basically doing it back-to-back in South Africa. And after that, they just have pretty much regressed. Everyone knows Joe Smith is leaving. Les Kiss takes over. Maybe that change should have happened already for this tour, because they're playing like a team on this tour. That's kind of their season was done after the Rugby Championship, and when the All Blacks also quite emphatically beat them in Perth. They just look poor, and you just wonder how much of the good work in the first fortnight of the Rugby Championship and the last 2 tests of the Lions series has been undone with the way they kind of folded against the All Blacks at Eden Park and in Perth. They were very poor at Twickenham. Probably the most disappointing performance I've seen from them this year. And then just lacked all conviction and enthusiasm against Italy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Australia is another team that's trying to run before they walk, and they get it right on and off. But again, and that's why I mentioned Gonzo. He understands that Italy don't have the guns to come out shooting. They have to stay behind cover, and they have to pick their moments because they've only got a handful of bullets, and when they shoot, they got to land. So they can't afford to miss. And I think Australia, Scotland, these teams that come from these nations where the top tier rugby is propped up by some private schoolboy mentality about how to play the game, where the margins are much narrower. You just can't get away with it if you don't have momentum. And Australia, Scotland, teams like that just don't have the power up front. They're writing checks that their bodies can't cash. So I think if Australia has to get a little bit more conservative, like Italy has done, they'd be much tougher to beat. They'd be more consistent. They may not score such beautiful tries, but I think that is the starting point, and then to grow from there. As you find your groove on defense and physicality around the breakdown, then to try and add a little bit of wings to it. But at the moment, there's a lot of that from Australia. And they do have some really exciting outside backs, but I'm just not sure that they just don't have the firepower to underwrite the game they're trying to play.
Right. Well, the good thing is there's no one's going to take Italy for granted. Rassi will still put a good side together. And when the public say, oh, it's just Italy, we can't say that anymore. The All Blacks struggled there. Ireland 22-17 last year. All Blacks 29-11, scored a late try. We've seen France struggle there. We've seen Australia beat them back-to-back. So we're going to have to play well to win. We're going to preview that test on Thursday once they've named the Boks side. But in this week, all I can say to everyone is enjoy what the Springboks did. If you do have an indulgence and you enjoy an ice-cold frosty, especially in the heat in Cape Town, then sip on a good castle. They are doing that wonderful campaign, 130-year celebration, the taste that stood the test of time, a bit like Sia Kolisi Springboks at the moment and Rasmus Springboks. And there's 130,000 Rand to be won. It's the legacy cans. It's the legends cans. You collect all 6 of them. you go into a draw and one person will be 130,000 richer. So follow that on keo.co.za, on SA Rugby Magazine, on our socials and our WhatsApp channels. Go and swap your collector box as well there. Zels and I'll be back in the afternoon on Zoom because Rassie keeps on announcing his teams at an odd time.